pagtutulungan, walang kupas na kaugalian.
Panalangin para sa kapayapaan ng puso. Amang mapagmahal, sa iyo nagbubuhat ang kapayapaan at katotohanan. Igawad mo ito sa aming buhay, sa aming puso, at sa aming isipan, sapagkat alam namin na sa iyo lamang ito makakamtan. Sa kabila ng aming pag-aalinlangan, punuin mo ng kapayapaan ang aming mga kaisipan at kalooban sa araw-araw. Gawin mo kaming instrumento sa pagsusulong din ng kapayapaan sa buong mundo. Amen.
pati na aking dangal, Caloocan Central, paralan kong gabay. Pag-aaral ko'y pinagyayaman, pati aking isipan, ang itinanim mong karunungan ay aming aalagaan. Pagyayamanin, payayabungin, ibabahagi kahit kanino man. Paaralan kong Caloocan Sentral, pila may dangal, mapagmahal sa mga mag-aaral. Paaralan kong Caloocan Sentral, may mitin, may pangarap para sa kinabukasan ng mga batang mag-aral. Caloocan Sentral, mahal naming paaralan. Paaralan kong Caloocan Sentral, may disiplina, may dangal, mapagmahal sa mga mag-aaral. Paaralan kong Caloocan Sentral, may mitin, may pangarap para sa kinabukasan ng mga batang mag-aaral. Caloocan Sentral, mahal naming paaralan. Itatatak sa aming puso, Caloocan Sentral, mahal naming paaralan.
Magandang umaga pong muli sa ating lahat. Muli po, ito ang inyong principal, Dr. CARMENIA C. ABEL, in behalf of my 120 teachers. Kami po ay lubusang nagpapasalamat sa lahat po ng mga magulang, mga bata, amin pong stakeholders na palagi pong tumatangkilik at sumusuporta sa programa po ng paaralan. Ngayong umaga pong ito ay amin pong ipalalabas o bibigyan ng pagpapahalaga kung paano po ba dapat magkaroon ang bawat isa sa atin ng tamang kaisipan, ng tamang pangangalaga sa atin din pong emotion. Ang title po ng ating program this morning ay Mental Health Seminar o Webinar, na kung saan dito po bibigyan ng kasagutan ang anumang dapat ninyong gawain upang magkaroon po ang bawat isa sa atin ng maayos na kaisipan. At syempre po, pag may maayos na kaisipan, meron po tayong maayos na kalooban. At syempre po, bibigyan din tayo ng mga tips ng ating dalawang speakers kung paano po tayo makaka-cope up o paano natin lalabanan ang pandemic na nangyayari sa ating bansang Pilipinas. At dahil po din sa tulong na sa seminar na ito o sa mental health webinar na ito, nakakasiguro po ako na ito ay magiging dahilan kung paano natin isa sa buhay ang pang-araw-araw nating tungkulin sa ating mga anak at syempre sa ating community. Ito po ay bahagi pa rin ng Balik Eskwela at Brigada Balik Eskwela at Brigada Eskwela. Sana po stay tuned lang kayo. Huwag po kayong bibitiw sapagkat alam ko ito po ay malaking tulong sa ating lahat, lalong-lalo na po sa darating na pasukan sa October 5. Keep safe and always be happy. God bless us all. Thank you.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si Mrs. Daisy Joyce Torres, ang clinic teacher ng Caloocan Central Elementary School. Ngayon pong umaga, ang ating pong paaralan ay magbabahagi ng kaalaman tungkol sa mental health o kalusugang pangkaisipan. Bilang paghahanda sa darating na pasukan at bahaging din po ito ng programa ng Brigada Eskwela. Habang ang ating buhay ay patuloy nagbabago, ganun din ang kondisyon ng ating kalooban at pag-iisip at ating kapakanan. Mahalaga ang humanap ng panimbang sa ating buhay sa panapanahon at iba't ibang sitwasyon. Kami pong mga guro sa pamumuno ni Dr. CARMENIA C. ABEL ay kumalap at nag-imbita ng isang eksperto sa larangan na ito upang tayo ay maliwanagan at maunawaan ng mga pinagdadaanan ng bawat isa at bigyan halaga ang kalusugan ng ating pag-iisip at kung papaano natin ito mapapangalagaan. Marami pong salamat at naway makatulong po ito para po ito sa ating lahat. Noong nakaraang August 6 ay naghandog ang DepEd Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Service ng isang online remote psychosocial support through play for elementary teachers. Isa sa mga session ng webinar ay may title na Understanding Children in Stressful Situation and Providing Care and Support to Them. Ito po ay ibinahagi ni Ms. Michelle Amorilla Climaco ng headsup.ph ng Unilab Foundation. Panoorin po natin to.
Na yung magiging topic natin is tungkol sa understanding children's behavior. So ano ba yung mga common reactions ng ating mga learners kapag nakakaranas sila ng ganitong sitwasyon, stressful situations gaya nung ating pandemic, yung mga changes na nangyayari sa kanilang environment, sa kanilang paligid. So yun po yung ating pag-uusapan ngayong hapon. So yung ating outline is ito po, children's common responses to stressful situation. Ano yung ating magagawa para sa ating mga learners? Siyempre, hindi lang natin pag-uusapan kung ano yung mga nangyayari sa kanila. Gusto din nating tignan, baka tayo bilang mga guro, bilang mga magulang, ay meron ding pwedeng gawin para masuportahan pa yung ating mga kabataan. And of course, kanina ilang beses nabanggit ni Doc Jake, how play contributes to the child's well-being. Gaano nga ba kahalaga ang laro para sa ating mga kabataan? So wag na nating patagalin pa, pag-usapan na natin. Ayan. So every time, kada may nangyayaring stressful situation, di ba? As we know, yung Pilipinas is one of the most country na nakaka-experience ng ilan, halos 20 typhoons every year. So for this 2020 lang, year 2020, ilang stressful situation na ang naranasan ng Pilipinas. Ang dami na po, January, February, hanggang ngayon, yung ating situation because of the pandemic. So hanggang ngayon, tayo pa rin ay nag-a-adjust because of the new normal. So let us, allow me to run through sa inyo what are the common stresses or what are the common cause of or mga changes in the environment that causes stress sa ating mga learners para mas maintindihan natin also how to respond properly sa kanila. So always remember po that any disaster, anyone who experience a disaster or any person who experience a change in the environment, lalo na sa atin na for so many years, we enjoy going out, we enjoy doing things with our family. Yung ating mga learners, they enjoy going to school ng ilang taon. And then out of the blue, isang snap lang, nagbago lahat yon. Hindi na tayo pwedeng mag-socialize, nasa house na lang tayo. Even the school setting ay nagbago na rin from the traditional face-to-face to online or remote facilitation of classes and also other different activities. So anyone who experiences any stressful disaster is affected by it. So wala pong excuse. Even adults, most na na lang po yung ating mga learners. So examples of this are because of the pandemic, probably, so pwedeng ang bata ay nakaranas ng separation sa kaniyang family. So halimbawa, pwedeng kagaya ngayon, marami tayong LSIs, bumisita lang sila sa Cebu. Bumisita sila ng Cebu, tapos hindi pa sila nakakabalik kasi nga mahirap mag-process ng documents. So ganun. So there is a long-term separation. And then or any example naman, what if yung one member or close family member no nung bata meron siyang close relationship, hindi naman directly parents agad, pwedeng mga tito or tita na hospitalized because of COVID, or ang worst po is pwedeng namatay because of COVID, no? So these are stressful situation para sa mga bata. Another is destruction or loss of homes or destruction in their, yun nga, daily routines, no? So merong pagbabago doon sa normal things na ginagawa nila araw-araw. So kung dati they go out, 'di ba, lalo na sa provinces, no, makikita natin yung mga student naglalakad. Kami dati naglalakad pauwi galing school. So ngayon hindi na 'yon siya nararanasan kasi most of our learners, especially yung ating mga elementary learners, no, and mas younger pa, ay hindi na po allowed na lumabas sa kanilang mga tahanan. So another is yun nga, witnessing or experiencing any traumatic event, gaya po nung nararanasan natin ngayon. So, these mental health and psychosocial concerns no, na na-experience natin or nararanasan natin during stressful situation, meron siyang effect sa ating mga kabataan. And let us always remember that children responses to stress, no, or in any stressful situation may vary depending on their age. So iba-iba po siya depende sa edad. Hindi po natin pwedeng i-assume na dahil grade 6 na siya or dahil grade 5 na siya, naiintindihan niya na fully kung ano yung nangyayari sa surroundings. Or dahil kasi 7 years old pa naman siya, grade 1 pa naman siya, hindi natin kailangang ipaliwanag sa kanya kung ano yung nangyayari kasi ina-assume natin na baka di niya naman kailangan yung information or di na natin kailangan ipaliwanag sa kanya kasi wala naman siyang pakialam. So, yun yung mga things that we need to consider. And right now, we are sharing with you nga na iba-iba yung responses ng mga kabataan or iba-iba yung needs na kailangan nating ibigay sa kanila depende sa kanilang edad. So always remember po na how these situations, no, like the pandemic affects our learners, it affects them both, no, for their physical aspect in terms of physical, yung kanilang things that they can do physically, in terms of social, no, like limitations doon sa kanilang kakayahan to go out and socialize and be with friends or other family members, and also psychological, no, like yung thought process nila, ano na yung mga iniisip nila because of the situation. So for social, there might be, no, possibly, no, dito na mangyayari is because of the situation, nararanasan ng mga bata na nahihirapan na sila ngayon or nagkakaroon sila ng adjustment, no, very challenging for them na ngayon to open up to their family members kasi nga they were used to open up to their friends. Sanay sila na mag-open up sa mga kaibigan, but ngayon nahihirapan sila to directly, no, create stable relationship with family members na hindi naman nila ka-close before. But they are forced to create relationship kasi nga nagsistay lang sila sa bahay. And this still can create no conflict within the household, which kailangan natin din to be mindful about. So in terms of children, no, ages 0 to 3 years old, ano ba yung mga common reactions ng mga bata? So during this time, when children are, kapag yung mga bata kasi ay nasa age 0 to 3 years, very heightened, no, yung kanilang in terms of cognitive development. So how yung kanilang brain processes, no, yung kanilang like learnings ay very active during this time. So they learn things immediately. That is why po, kapag yung mga bata between 0 to 3 years old, kapag pinaparinig natin sila ng music, kapag paulit-ulit natin silang pinapanood ng mga kids show sa television na English, ang galing-galing na nilang mag-English afterwards kasi yun nga, very active yung kanilang cognitive development during this time. And if very active yung kanilang cognitive development during ages 0 to 3 years old, mas madali din silang maka-retain ng memories. So most probably, no, if our situation right now, the pandemic right now, for ages 0 to 3 years old, pag hindi natin na ipapaliwanag sa kanila ng maayos, what is happening or the changes that is happening around them. So ngayon, hindi na tayo pwedeng lumabas. Ngayon, hindi na muna tayo makakabisita sa ating mga lolo at lola. So we need to explain it to them. So let's not assume na hindi nila kailangan nung explanation. So they need po explanation. Kailangan nila po nung ating mga paliwanag para mas maintindihan nila what is happening to their environment. In that way po, yung mga learners po, yung ating mga kabataan po na nasa preschool halimbawa, is alam nila what is happening and hindi nila iisipin na they are at fault or may kasalanan sila kung bakit hindi sila pwedeng lumabas or bakit na-limit yung mga bagay na kailangan nilang gawin. So naaalala to nila and nagsistay siya for long sa kanila. Maliban lang kung nagagawa natin siya or na-address natin siya din at an early age. So they become more clingy and cry a lot, 'di ba? So iyakin sila, they fear na baka umalis yung parents and baka hindi na rin bumalik, ganyan, or baka iwan sila. So they want to be close to their family members kasi there is fear. They know, whatever adults feel kasi, especially when you are with children at home, kapag meron tayong mga bata sa ating bahay, mga ganitong edad hanggang mga 7 years old po, kung ano yung nararamdaman natin adults kasi, it reflects kasi to our facial expression, it reflects to the energy that our body releases, and these energies po and facial expressions po, our learners po, yung ating mga young children po are very observant dun sa changes ng ating non-verbal cues. So lahat ito napapansin nila, inaaalala nila. So they know, di ba mapapansin mo, if you are uncomfortable when you are taking care of a child, lalo na pag new mother ka, di ba pag uncomfortable ka, mas umiiyak yung bata. It's because po, the energy is shared between sa inyong dalawa. So yung bata din nasa-stress. So pag ganito, the parent or the adults are stressed, yung mga bata nasa-stress din po. So that is why we need to explain to them what is happening around us. So of course, we need to also observe for those parents and for those teachers, you can actually po learn about these changes in the behavior if we work closely with the parents, kasi it's an opportunity na mapag-usapan ninyo what are the changes in the behavior of the learners to also understand kung ano ba yung mga activities na ibibigay natin or sa ating mga learners or how to respond sa kanila. So be also mindful doon sa changes in their sleeping patterns, doon sa changes in their eating patterns, kasi these are very common, and also how they interact with their siblings or interact with other individual or other people doon sa kanilang household. So ayan, that's for the children ages 0 to 3 years old. So ano naman for children's ages 4 to 6 years old. So most of these learners, eto sila kasi pag 4 to 6 kasi they start to socialize na, 'di ba? Pag mga 4 to 6, they also prefer na dito yung gender differences. Like kung babae ako, makikipaglaro ako sa babae lang. Ang gusto kong kalaro, eto lang mga babae, and then gustong kalaro naman pag boy is mga lalaki lang. So may mga gender differences na, So what are the common also changes in their behavior? So regressing to their younger behavior such as thumb sucking, nail biting, 'di ba? At yung mga common bedwetting, ito yung mga children na yun nga ages 0 to 3, ito yung madalas nilang ginagawa, 'di ba? Mouth is the center of pleasure pag ganun, 0 to 3 years old. So pag 4 to 6 kasi they start to socialize, they play with others, so they observe, so they understand now na yung mga thumb sucking pala ay hindi na dapat ginagawa during this time. So, but then, if they experience a stressful situation, nagkaroon sila ng changes in their environment, when they are stressed and the adults are stressed and the child can feel it, there is a possibility that they go back to that younger behaviors that they usually do. So kaya nga they go, nakaka-experience na naman sila ulit ng bedwetting, nakaka-experience sila ng thumb sucking, or even nail biting, and also like picking yung kanilang mga hair if they are stressed. Ayan, or tantrums. So other is they become inactive or hyperactive. So yung inactive or hyperactive depends always kung ano yung normal behavior ng bata prior to the stressful situation. So always ganun po. Kung ano yung normal state niya, halimbawa, the normal state is yung batang si Ana, yung student mo, alam mo na, or nung nag-usap kayo ng mother niya, alam mo na yung normal state niya ay masayahin siya, palagi siyang tumatawa, palabiro siya, ganon. So when the disaster happened, nung nangyari yung stressful situation, nag-change yung kanyang behavior. Naging inactive siya, most of the time, no, hindi na siya nakikipag-interact, nagsistay lang siya sa corner, napansin yun ng mother niya, hindi na rin siya nakikipag-usap or nakikipagbiruan or tumatawa. So, depende always po kung ano yung normal behavior ng bata prior po to the stressful situation. So, yun po yung babasehan po natin palagi. So, either inactive or hyperactive, malikot, tas biglang naging hindi na malikot or hindi siya malikot dati tas biglang naging malikot na siya ngayon. But also be mindful din doon sa changes, no, baka may mga nakasama siya sa house, may mga bago siyang kaibigan sa house, may mga cousin na na-stuck din sa house, kaya din siya mas nag-open up na. So these things, no, we need to consider. So feeling anxious, irritable, or experiencing ganun pa rin similar sleeping disturbances or eating disturbances or eating changes on the eating behaviors po. So anxious is that, no, anything in the environment, no, that we worry. So hindi mo alam, hindi ka sigurado what makes you worry ba about these things. Basta kinakabahan ka, uncomfortable ka, the child is parang like nahihirapan siya to express yung emotion, kasi when you ask the child, kumusta ka ngayon or anong nangyari at umiyak ka, hindi niya masyadong maipaliwanag kasi sasabihin niya na kasi nag-aalala po ako so pwede mo bang i-share kung ano yung inaalala mo? And then mahirap, no, difficult for the child to express anong inaalala niya. So yun yung mga things that we need to also observe. But always na remember that we can, with the help of the parents, ma-observe po natin siya because not all behaviors are visible online, and of course, no, hindi talaga siya magiging visible po if home-based or self-paced yung activities na gagawin po ng ating mga learners. Ayan. So for ages naman po, mas matanda ng konti, no? So eto na yung ating mga grades 5 to 6, ganyan. 4 to 6 pa. So, 7 to 12 years old naman, ayan, for 7 to 12 years old natin is like the level of physical activity changes. So, ganun pa rin, no? Observing the behavior prior to the stressful situation. So, kung ano siya dati, then ano siya nung after nangyari yung stressful situation. So also there is a withdraw from social contact kasi pag 7 to 12 years old, mas heighten, no, kung yung kanina natin na mga 4 to 6 is nagsusocialize sila, socialize with siblings, socialize with mga kaibigan or pinsan. Dito kasi sa 7 to 12, meron na talagang like outside the family group. Kasi di ba they start to study na, nagsisimula na silang mag-aral. So they are exposed also to other children, no, aside from the family, direct family members and parents and also relatives. So dito, there is parang like changes, no, doon sa like how they interact with other children. So pwedeng bugnutin sila, pwedeng nagsisik sila ng attention, ganyan. And more sila, no, na gusto na palaging sila yung tinitignan natin. So these are common changes. So always remember po, na if ganun naman po talaga yung bata even before, so it's okay. Hindi po natin kailangang mag-alala. But if the child ay hindi naman ganun noon, then dun po natin pwedeng i-ask yung question, no, na maybe there is something wrong, or hindi naman wrong, pero maybe there is something that the child is experiencing deep inside na kailangan ninyo na pong pag-usapan para mas maintindihan natin sila. So feeling or expression of fear. So mas maganda, no, kung expressive sila of their fear or if of their worries. Pero what if yung mga bata ay hindi naman po gaanong nag-e-express ng fear? So paano natin ito ma-observe? Ma-observe po natin ito through their drawings, yung mga artworks that they are doing. If they already have mga social media accounts and then they post yung kanilang mga feelings and emotions online, di ba? Feeling down, feeling lonely, feeling depressed, ganon. So these are ways, no, on how we can observe also their feelings na hindi nila kayang i-verbalize. But always remember din na depression, ay masasabi nating depression only if it's diagnosed by professionals. So like psychiatrists or psychologists, if they undergo na po proper clinical assessment. So yon. Pero ngayon kasi, pwede naman sabihin, feeling ganyan. So, let's ask them, no? So, na-read ko yung post mo, ganyan. For us to better understand them, na-read ko yung post mo, sabi mo doon, feeling depressed. Pwede mo bang i-share sa akin kung ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng depressed sa'yo or what makes you feel depressed? Ano yung mga nararamdaman mo para masabi na depressed ka? Basta always po remember, avoid po na asking learners po, no, or gamitin yung salita po na why para tanungin po or alamin kung ano yung nararamdaman nila. So, avoid po asking why questions. Ayan. So, experiencing self-blame or guilt. So, eto na po pumapasok pag ganito, no, kapag sinasabi nung bata na or sinasabi niya na kaya hindi na ako makalabas, kasi bad ako na child, kasi kaya hindi na ako pwedeng pumunta sa ibang bahay kasi hindi na ako love ng parents ko. So this time po, kaya po mahalaga na pag ganito po, during this stressful situation, we explain sa kanila what is happening para hindi po nila ma-misinterpret kung ano yung nangyayari sa kanilang kapaligiran. Ayan. So these things po, no, let us be mindful of this po. So most of the changes in the behavior of the learners po, as summary lang po, no, na kailangan nating i-observe is yung kanilang eating and sleeping po na patterns. And then yung kanilang changes in their physical activities po. And of course po, how they express yung kanilang feelings po and their emotions. Ayan. Okay, but always remember po, meron tayong magagawa para sa ating mga kabataan. Kaya po tayo nandito ngayon. So ano ba yung mga pwede nating magawa para sa kanila? So assess for risk of suicide or harm. So always remember, no, si Algie natin. Ayan, so assess, A is for assess, for risk of suicide or harm. So ibig sabihin kung meron na po silang mga sugat, saan po tayo dapat nagiging conscious? So, conscious tayo if yung mga sugat po ay dito sa wrist, ayan, or if may mga marks po sila, no, na sa tingin ninyo ay hindi naman normal na sugat ng bata na nakukuha sa mga ordinary play activities or games na ginagawa sa house. So, yan po, let us be mindful of that. So, listen non-judgmentally. So, sometimes, no, nakakalimutan natin po to set aside our own personal views, no, when we listen to learners or when we listen to other people or to children. Minsan sinasabi natin when they share, nag-iinarte lang yan, nagdadrama lang yan, parang like nagsisik lang yan ng attention. So these things, no, we have to be very conscious about it. Let's separate muna. If the child is talking to us, makinig po tayo sa kanya. Later, may mga very good example si Ate Rosel doon sa ating listening skills, no, that we need to develop also. So give reassurance and information. So ano ba yung mga nangyayari ngayon? So whatever it is that you're feeling, it's okay. And these are the things that you can do, or these are the people that you can ask for help. So, pwede tayong humingi ng tulong sa kanila. So, to remind them, no, of the things that they need to remember, especially when they are going through something. Meron silang pinagdadaanan. So, E is for encourage appropriate professional help only if needed. Very important, only if needed and only if okay or hindi ma-offend yung family. So, paano ba natin to siya gagawin? So, gaya po nung na-share natin kanina, no, doon sa pinakita ni Doc Shake. So, what we are doing is hanggang tier 3 lang po. We are providing focused care. So, focused care with the help of families, with the help of our parents, and also with the teachers, guidance counselors. But what we are not doing right now po is assessing any possible mental health or present mental health condition sa bata. So, hindi po tayo dito mga psychologists or psychiatrists na mag-a-assess po sa ating mga learners. We are here po to provide help. So, ang gagawin po natin ngayon, if we see that there are changes, if we observe na merong changes doon sa behavior ng bata, doon sa course ng inyong sessions with them, then explain it, no, inform the parents, ma'am, ito yung napansin ko. Then the parent, no, the family might have any explanation, merong paliwanag maliwanag doon sa behavior ng bata. Di nagkaintindihan kayo. So let us not assume no agad. So always communicate constantly with our parents. So of course, last but not the least, encourage self-help and other support strategies. And that is why this afternoon po, pag-uusapan natin ang power ng play. Ayan. So, power ng play. Paunti-unti na nating nakikita, no? So, pinesent natin kanina what are the things na kailangan nating i-consider or what are the common reactions ng bata and how we can help them. Ngayon naman, let's focus on play, which we will be providing our learners. Okay, so ngayon, when I ask you, no, kung mangutan ako sa akong mga friends there sa Shokon, ayan, kapag narinig natin yung salitang play, ano ang naiisip ninyo automatically? What comes into your mind? So, sige nga po, pwede ba tayong mag-comment? Drop tayo para alam ko naman po nagising pa kayo. Baka po tinulugan nyo na ako. Mahina po yung internet no, sa ibang portion po, sa ibang bahagi ng ating lugar. So, eto na po ang ating new normal. So, let's be patient. Ayan, okay. So, pag play, no, when we talk about play, it's fun. When we talk about play, it's relaxing. When we talk about play, it's parang we are given opportunities to socialize, 'di ba? And we are given opportunities also to understand no other people, other learners, other children. So ganun si play. So through play, when we talk about play, children create children create new learning experiences through play. And these learning experiences enable them to acquire social, emotional, intellectual, and physical skills. So maraming skills na nade-develop ang bata. So play ang ginagamit natin because, yun nga, gaya ng sinabi ni Doc kanina, when we talk about play, it gives us holistic opportunities to help children address yung kanilang mga challenges na nararanasan. And when we talk about play, it's a common language, no? Natural siya for every child to do play activity. So tayo ba, 'di ba hanggang ngayon we still enjoy doing physical play activities like engaging in sports, doing arts, music, dancing, 'di ba? So these are expressive forms of play. Yung mga doing so many art activities, no, and other activities as well like physical play. So these are things na common sa ating lahat, even to young children, even to infants, no. And then play also, aside from it's relaxing and it's a good avenue to express their emotion, during play, children is also in command. So sila yung nasusunod, nagagawa nila kung ano yung gusto nila, and they are in control. Kasi most of the time, sino ba yung nagko-control? Yung nagsasabi kung ano ang gagawin. Di ba tayong adults, dili na nimo pwede himuon. Bawal yan, numatuase. Di ba? Ganun-ganun. Kung ano pa ang sinasabi natin, di ba? Galit pa tayo sa mga bata. So, but when they do play activities, they are in control and they feel that they are taking all the energy and their strength to do so many wonderful things. So, play enables children also, not just that, to deal with their negative emotions. So when they have conflicts, kapag mga bata, no, na-overcome agad nila or nahahanapan agad nila ng solusyon, 'di ba? Hindi sila naghihirapan. So automatically, no, they find yung forgiveness and then they find agad na reconciliation kasi they understand na what we are doing right now is play lang. Walang seryosohan. But with adults, no, it's difficult for us to find reconciliation in everything that we do. Ayan, so it takes sobrang effort. But for children, it's easy lang. Aside from that, no, when we think about or when we talk about play, and in terms of cognitive development, when a child, no, an infant, sabihin natin, hindi naman infant, like 3 years old na bata, kapag yung 3 years old na bata ay umakyat siya sa upuan na kulay itim and then nahulog siya doon sa upuan na yun, nasaktan siya automatically kasi nahulog siya eh. Ngayon, kapag nahulog siya, iisipin nung magre-register yon sa brain ng bata, kapag dito ako aakyat sa black na upuan, mahuhulog pala ako dito. Pero aakyat pa rin yung bata sa ibang upuan, basta hindi lang doon sa black na yon. Kasi alam niya, natuto siya, nag-learn siya doon. So when we do play activities like Jolen, akala natin yung Jolen wala lang, but we strategize with Jolen, no? Nagme-measure din tayo ng distance, we measure also like strategies on saan natin idadaan ang ating Jolen to ensure na mapapasok siya doon sa kanyang goal, 'di ba? Also, if we play patintero sa provinces, 'di ba? Patintero, uso 'yan. So nagsa-strategize din and also teamwork, no? Social development, no? They are socially they have social relationship or develop social relationship with their friends and family members. Ayan. So that's just po few of the many benefits of play kasi holistic nga ang play. Kaya ngayon, we will focus more on play. So when we talk about well-being of the child, kasi nga play is holistic, so kasama dun yung well-being. So well-being is the experience, no, of good mental health, happiness, and children prosper, no, in different ways. So nakikita natin that they are nag-excel sila sa kung ano man yung mga things na gusto nilang gawin through practicing different activities, especially through play. So, it also is, no, it also means yung ating well-being, good mental health, life satisfaction, sense of meaning and purpose, and also ability to manage stress. So, when a child has good well-being, psychological well-being, it is associated with the feelings of happiness, being healthy, ayan, socially connected, and of course, they have the sense of purpose. Ano ba yung gusto kong gawin? Ano ba yung gusto kong ma-achieve? Ayan. So, it's a good avenue to connect also and create good relationship with other people. Ayan. So, ngayon, tignan natin yung ating mental health continuum. So, what happens when one portion of what we presented ay hindi mamimet, no? Or maiiwan natin siya or we leave this portion unmet. So, the mental health continuum, as you can see po, ayan, so that's the mental health continuum, the buong picture ng ating mental health continuum. It emphasizes the importance of both play activities, both play and well-being as protective factors of the child against stressful situation. So, pwedeng makuha nung bata yung mga protective factors na pinesent ni Doc Shay kanina, like resiliency, kung makikita nyo po sa ating first, no? Under mental health, the play, resilience, coping skills. So, these are things na nakukuha ng bata when they are given opportunities to play. So, nakakatulong to sa kanila na maging protective factors nila against stressful situation. So, stressful situation. So, when a child, no, these conditions in this picture, you will see that a child is mentally healthy when he or she is resilient, when the child has good coping skills, and then makukuha, saan nila ito makukuha? Of course, from their stable environment, warm environment, and supportive parenting, no? So, hindi ibig sabihin na hindi po natin i-correct yung mga bata if they did something wrong. So, we still need to correct the child. It's just that we need to emphasize lang na when we correct the child, we also need to explain sa bata what is the right thing to do. After natin siyang kinorek, hindi mo to pwedeng gawin, pero eto pwede mong gawin. So, instead of doing this, eto yung pwedeng mag-work. Ganyan. So, ganun, no? Wag nating sabihin lang sa bata na, hindi mo pwedeng gawin yan or wag kang pumunta dyan without explaining sa child kung what is the right thing ba? Ano yung tamang bagay na gagawin? So, when one of these factors, so kapag isa sa mga factors na yan are unmet or ibig sabihin hindi natin naibigay sa bata, it might cause mental health problem. So, ibig sabihin, nagkakaroon na siya ng development, no? Nako-confuse yung bata, nagkakaroon ng conflict, nagkakaroon siya ng questions na hindi na sasagot. So, these are issues na hindi na-address o na pag-uusapan. So, pag mental health problem, ito yung mga challenges natin sa bahay no, na hindi na pag-uusapan. Example po, yun, yung ating stressful situation ngayon. So, hindi pwedeng lumabas yung bata. So, the child is curious, bakit pa hindi ako pwedeng lumabas? But the child feels na I have no right to ask my parents or my siblings. So, always tayo, adults, yung nag-i-initiate ng conversation with the child. So, always consider kung ano yung nararamdaman nila during this time. So, of course, no, in the long run, kapag continue na hindi natin a-address, example, nag-open up yung bata, Ma, pwede ba kitang makausap kasi, or Pam, pwede ba kitang makausap kasi may nangyari kasi sa school. Tapos sabi mo, sige mamaya na, busy pa ako. So the child kept on waiting, palagi siyang nag-aantay, but hindi dumating yung time na nabigyan natin siya ng pagkakataon or ng oras na makausap tayo. So when they grow older, and alam nila na kahit mag-open up sila sa adults, eto assess natin, no? Kasi this is very parang like makaka-relate also yung ating mga parents, especially kapag meron na kayong mga teenagers ngayon, no? And of course, dun sa mga may bata pa, may younger, at least parang you'll understand also what happens ba. So, kapag adult na sila, nasa age na sila where they can drink, parang they resort no, at an early age, 13 years old, they start smoking, they start drinking. Kasi kapag stress sila or they have problems, they don't know kung sino yung kakausapin nila or sino yung lalapitan nila. So that's what happens. So kapag ganon, in the long run at hindi siya na-address, it becomes no mental illness. So nagiging sakit na siya nung bata, nagiging sakit na siya or karamdaman na siya nung bata. So, ang mangyayari, so nagiging, yung makikita natin, no, there are mood disorders. So, ibig sabihin, possibly, no, the child might develop, halimbawa, sabihin natin, bipolar siya. So, ibig sabihin, pwedeng manic depressive, no? So, pwedeng happy siya, sobrang happy niya for a week, and then after a week, depressive symptoms naman siya. So, sobrang depressed niya, hindi na siya nakakatulog, hindi siya kumakain. So, pag manic siya, bili siya ng kung ano-ano, ang dami niyang gustong i-explore, magta-travel ba siya. So, these things, no, it's their coping skills po. It's their way of coping, pero hindi nga lang siya, it's beyond normal na way of coping. So, personality disorder, so pwede, no, they have challenges, parang like communicating or creating healthy relationship with other people. So, these are common with individuals who have PDs, personality disorders. And then, yun nga, substance abuse. So, kalauna, no, they can't sleep na if hindi sila nagde-drink. They can't sleep if hindi sila nag-smoke. So, kung titignan natin ang mental health continuum, this is what happens kapag either, no, hindi natin na bablock or na-address any of the steps doon sa ating mental health continuum. So, nasan tayo sa mental health continuum? So, sa mental health continuum, nasa first stage tayo. So, right now, we are helping learners cope positively through play activities sa ating stressful situation to help them avoid having mental health problems and mental health illnesses in the future. So, yun. So, yun yung ating ginagawa ngayon. So, that is why we are focusing on play. So, wag po nating kalimutan yung ating mental health continuum, ha? Ayan. So, moving forward, ayan. So, ano ba yung ating napag-usapan ngayon? Here's the quick summary po of our topic this afternoon. So, napag-usapan natin, no, ngayon is, yan, how play contributes to the child's well-being. So, it's time na po na we look at play as something na very valuable, no, in terms of helping children cope with their stresses in life and also manage negative emotions that they feel. So also we discussed, no, and shared about the changes in the child's behavior and also what can we do. So always remember yung ating algae kanina. So assess, listen, give, encourage self-help through play activities. So yun po, that ends my session. And please...
Ang ikalawa nating speaker ay magbibigay ng salik tungkol sa halaga ng mental health at para lubos nating maintindihan ng mga pinagdadaan ng stress habang lahat po tayo ay naka-quarantine. Magbibigay din siya ng mga gabay at paraan kung paano tayo makaka-cope up sa mga pangyayari sa ating buhay. Tunghayan po natin ang pagbabahagi ng kaalaman ni Mr. Jericho D. Medel, isang Psychologist 1 ng Department of Social Welfare and Development ng National Capital Region. Panoorin po natin to.
So magandang araw. Ang sisimulan natin yung ating discussion sa Mind Matters, Protecting Our Mental Health Amidst of the Pandemic. So muli ako si Jericho Medel, ang inyong facilitator for today's learning. Pag sinabing mental health, ano yung maaaring pumasok sa inyong isip para simulan natin yung ating discussion? So kung titingnan natin, sinasabi ng ilan, pag sinabing mental health ay this is one of the taboo discussion sa Philippines dahil pag sinabi mental health, ito ay para sa mga baliw, para sa mga depressed, at para sa mga may ihinang tao lamang. Pero kung titingnan natin, lahat tayo ay merong mental health dahil parte ang mental health ng ating pagkatao or ating kalusugan. Kaya nga siya tinawag na mental health dahil ito ay isang kalusugang pangkaisipan natin. And maaaring meron tayong physical health kasi we can move our body physically, we can take exercise, we can walk, we can use our fine and gross motor skills na meron tayo. Of course, we can be sad, lonely, we can feel certain heightened emotion or negative emotions that we can feel. And of course, sometimes we can feel angry or upset, right? Maaari rin tayong ma-surprise or maaari tayong magulat with certain situations na nangyayari sa atin. Like for this example, ito naman natin dito with the bill, na dumating, nagugulat talaga tayo. And also, we may feel emotional with something that we watch. We get affected dun sa mga pinapanood natin online, pinapanood natin with the television. Sometimes we get affected. Also, we can get affected with the happenings, especially to our finances, di ba? First, tulad nung sa picture na na-present dito. And of course, we get affected with our self-care. If we can do self-care, we can get affected on it positively or negatively dun sa nangyayari sa atin. But of course, pag sinabing self-care, ito yung paraan natin ng pangangalaga sa ating mga sarili at mamaya pag-usapan natin to. So pag sinabing mental health, it includes emotional and psychological and social well-being of an individual. Ito ang paraan kung saan tayo ay nakakapag-isip, nakakaramdam o nakakarama at nakakakilos ayon sa ating naramdaman at ating naisip. And ito rin yung nagde-determine sa atin how we can cope with stresses in life. And how can we relate to others? How can we use our social support? And of course, make choices. Diba? And pag sinabi nga na mental health ay it's not only with the adult. Diba sinasabi nila mahirap maging adult, but it's not only with the being an adult. But of course, mental health is important to every stages in life from childhood, adolescent, through adulthood. Kung titingnan natin, even infants have their own mental health. They can use the way they talk, like ginagamit nila yung mga pag-iyak, ginagamit nila yung pagngiti nila to communicate with people. And just like us, adults, we use our skills, communication skills to communicate, to verbalize how we feel, how we think, and how we act, how we get affected with the certain situations na meron tayong nararanasan. So pag sinabing mental health, it's across the span of childhood to adolescence, to adulthood. And of course, makita naman natin sa mga adolescents, especially sa mga learners natin, sa mga students, ay mental health sa ngayon yung pinaka naapektuhan sa kanila. Okay, pag sinabing meron tayong good mental health, it is one's ability to cope with ordinary challenges and stressors in life brings, di ba? So pagka tayo ay mentally healthy, we can cope with the ordinary challenges. Maaaring ang simpleng nawalan tayo ng mga certain or nawalan tayo ng load. Some people may get frustrated. Some may say na okay lang yan, nawalan ako ng load. Pero, di ba, makikita naman natin na iba't iba talaga tayo ng ways of coping. Pero pagka nakapag-cope tayo with the certain problems that we had, possibly we have a good mental health and we can enjoy the stresses in life. Parang ginagamit natin yung mga ating nararanasan to learn, ginagamit natin yung ating mga nararanasan to grow further. Means we have a good mental health. Okay? So kung titignan natin, ang mental health ay isang spectrum. Pag sinabing spectrum, each and every situation in our life, it may vary. Pero sana, nandito lang tayo sa phase ng green side and yellow-green side. And sana, unti-unti ay yung mga ilang injured or nandito sa yellowish-orange side ay madala natin with the reacting side. And of course, sa lastly, yung mga ill na talagang nangangailangan ng professional help. So ngayon, isa-isayin natin tong apat na mental health spectrum na maaaring nararanasan natin. So pag sinabing healthy, sila yung maaaring may pinagdadaanan, ngunit kaya ito ng mga self-care and social support group na meron tayo. Yung healthy at yung reacting, di ba? So pag sinabing healthy, sila yung mga normal functioning. Maaaring nagka-fluctuates yung mood, pero kaya nilang mag-survive, merong normal sleep patterns, physically and socially active, and merong self-confidence and comfortable with others. They can share certain problems. They can do self-care to overcome this problem. Some people naman ay reacting common and reversible distress. Maaring we are irritable, we are impatient, we feel nervous, we feel sad, we increase worries, we procrastinate, we became forgetful. Maaring nakakaroon tayo ng trouble with sleeping, lower energy, difficulty in relaxing, intrusive thoughts, and decrease in social activity. Pero nakita naman natin na people like a social support group, family members may help you to overcome this reacting phase and maibalik tayo dun sa normal or sa healthy functioning na meron tayo. Pero pagdating dun sa yellow and red part, they need professional care, of course. Dito na pumapasok yung mga guidance counselors sa school, dito na pumapasok yung mga medical doctors sa community, psychiatrists, mga psychologists, pumapasok na sila dito. Pero, kasi nakita naman natin na meron ng significant and functional impairment na meron sila. Maaaring yung dun sa reacting phase, it's irritable and impatient, pero sa kanila, madalas lagi ng galit, madalas lagi ng anxious. That affects them with their functionality. Naapektuhan na nito yung school, maaaring yung excessive worriness nila, yung anxiety and feeling of hopelessness ay naapektuhan na sila sa school nila, naapektuhan na sila sa occupation nila, sa trabaho nila, at naapektuhan na rin the way they communicate to people. And of course, kung titingnan natin, meron na rin talagang withdrawal, nakakalimutan na nila yung social interactions, pinipiling mag-isolate, and then to the point na sa pag-isolate nila, they tend not to care for themselves. And lastly, dun sa ating mental health spectrum ay yung mga ill patients natin or yung mga ill individuals natin. Sila yung mga clinical disorder, severe, persistent functional impairment. Kung titignan natin, sila yung mga talagang diagnosed na talagang apektado na yung buong buhay nila with a mental health condition. Sabi nga dito, ito, may mga simptomas na pinapakita. Thinking high level of anxiety, panic attacks, depressed moods, feeling overwhelmed, constant fatigue, significant disturbances in thinking and suicidal behaviors, thoughts, and intents, di ba? But they need professional care na talaga. Usually, marami tayo na hindi lang natin napapansin, but they're expressing that they have a suicidal thoughts na pumapasok sa isip nila. Pero hindi lang talaga tayo sensitive enough to listen and to care for them. Pero maaaring may mga ilan tayong mga kakilala na nandun na sa face ng ill and injured. And we should be more cautious. Tingnan natin, maingat tayo sa pagsuri, maingat tayo sa pagsuri sa kanila. At of course, kausapin natin sila to refer to a professional care. So, infectious disease outbreaks like COVID-19 can be scary at talagang naapektuhan nito yung mental health natin. Doon sa latest na IATF announcement, merong mga areas pa rin na under ng general community quarantine, and some may have their modified general community or MGCQ, di ba? Pero nung ECQ pa lang, talagang labis na nito na apektuhan tayo, not only with our containment sa bahay, but of course, talagang naapektuhan tayo nito mentally, sa ating mental health, dahil we fear with every struggles na meron tayo, mas natakot yung ilan sa ating lumabas, yung ilan naman mas natakot na magutom, kaya talaga mas pinipiling lumabas. So talagang naglalaban na yung pag-iisip natin na to support our family and to maintain our physical health na mas maging matatag. Diba? So kung titignan naman natin, it's June report pa na ito yung mga under GCQ, and of course, nag-retain naman mostly ng mga areas na nakalista dito. At of course, isa rin sa nag-provide sa atin ng worry ay yung pabago-bagong announcement pagdating sa pagsisimula ng klase. Nakita naman natin na not only the students, not only the parents are worried dun sa pagdating ng GCQ at sa announcement na ibabalik yung klase. Of course, nakita rin natin yung worries ng mga teachers na sila rin ay greatly affected nitong announcement ng pagbabalik ng klase. May mga ilan na pumili ng modular, may ilan na parang online classes. Pero talagang struggle yung pagsisimula or pagbalik natin ng klase. But of course, ayaw naman natin na may ma-left behind din na mga learners natin. Kaya mas pinili natin na mas mag-provide ng learnings to them. Ayaw natin ma-stop yung learning na na-provide natin sa kanila. Gusto natin itong mapagpatuloy pa talaga. At kung titignan natin, after hearing this news, how do we feel? Do we feel calm? Do we feel happy na GCQ pa rin tayo? Do we feel happy na babalik na yung klase? Do we feel nervous? Do we feel annoyed? Do we feel sad? Maaaring may mga ilan tayo na experience na pakiramdam after hearing the news na GCQ pa rin tayo this August, plus kung titignan naman natin na mag-start na rin yung klase this August, di ba? Yeah. So the way we think, the way we feel affects our behavior, or even the way we feel affects our thinking. Diba? Dahil naramdaman natin yung takot, mas nanaig yung pag-iisip natin na paano, puro paano. And then, sa actions natin, lagi na tayong natataranta, lagi na tayong balisa. So kung titignan natin na the emotion, think, and action ay labis talagang tayo naapektuhan. Usually, ito yung mga nangyayari sa bahay. It's the it. Kung titignan natin yung sistema, it yung nangyayari on taking with a certain situation. Usually, nagiging reactive agad tayo pagka sinabi ng IATF dun sa balita na mag-GCQ pa rin tayo, hindi tayo babalik sa ECQ. Yung ilan na nainis, may ilan na talagang natakot. And kung titingnan natin, those emotions na naramdaman natin with that announcement affects our action. Tapos si ilan sa atin nag-post agad sa social media, nag-rant agad tayo, naging keyboard warrior agad tayo before we think na, di ba sabi nga meron isang campaign ng isang media company na think before you click. Pero kung titingnan natin, hindi tayo nag-think before we click, before we take actions. Mas pinili natin na mag-rant agad sa social media with that hearing that news. So nakita natin yung pattern na ang nangyari sa atin ay emotion, action, and think. It's it kung titingnan natin. But of course, every time na meron tayong mga heightened emotion na talagang naapektuhan tayo certain circumstances sa buhay natin, instead na mag-action tayo agad before we think, we should understand first our emotion, think of it before we take certain actions para at least mas responsible enough tayo dun sa mga actions na gagawin natin. Alam natin yung mga consequences ng mga actions natin. I'm just saying to this part na gusto natin na mas ma-establish yung responsible actions na meron tayo kasi mas pinag-isipan natin ito. So, mas mabuti siguro na we tend to have yung ETA na emotion, think, and action rather than eating or rather than emotion, action, and think. Diba? So, mas mabuti siguro na ETA yung ginagawa natin every time that we hear a certain news, we hear a certain or we experience something na alam natin na nakapagbigay sa atin ng heightened emotion. Okay? So, even with this pandemic and community quarantine that we are experiencing, think of the negative feelings. So, mag-isip tayo ng mga emotions na naramdaman natin in this past few days and past few weeks. May mga ilan sa atin na nagsulat or magsusulat ng mga ganitong negative feelings na naramdaman natin. Na-bother tayo. May ilan sa atin na natakot. May ilan sa atin na natuwa with certain progress na nakikita natin. Tapos may ilan naman na nabahala dahil tumataas pa rin yung mga case. Di ba makikita natin yung ganyan. Merong ilan na nabother kasi pabalik na yung class, yung pagpasok, na worried sila na hindi pa rin sila ready dun sa nangyari or sa nangyayari na hindi mag-go online. Am I ready na dun sa online mode of studying na natin? So, kung titignan natin, ito yung the way we think. We are mindful ba? Full ba yung pag-iisip natin? Or we are mindful? Kung titignan natin dito sa picture, may tao at yung aso. If we are mindful, puno yung ating pag-iisip, we tend not to see the trees, the sun na meron doon sa pinagdadaanan natin, kundi mas puno yung isip natin ng mga worries natin. It's either the music, a certain car, certain video games na tingin natin na nag-worry tayo. But kung titingnan naman natin yung sa perspective ng aso, yung aso ay mindful. Mindful siya dun sa esensya na siya lang mag-isa dito or siya lang dun sa situation. Nakita natin na ang iniisip ng aso, yung puno, yung 4 na puno na nag-exist at yung araw. Pero yung tao, it's mindful. Kasi hindi niya nakita yung perspective, hindi niya nakita yung presensya ng existence niya, di ba? Yung presensya na nandito siya. But of course, mas napag-iisip niya yung ilang bagay na wala dun sa scenery, di ba? He's not living on the here and now, but mas puno yung isip niya. At ang gusto natin ay maging mindful tayo rather than mindful. Diba? Maging mindful or maging katulad tayo ng aso dun sa sa picture na na-present natin. So, pag nakita yon, it's a reframing kung titingnan natin. Reframing ay thinking about the situation from a different or more realistic perspective. Tinitingnan natin yung perspektibo na ang isang sitwasyon, we are looking on it on a different perspective. It's, kung titingnan natin, ito siya, yung picture na to. Other people may see it as an old maid na talagang nakayoko. If you see, makita nyo yung ito. Nakikita naman siguro ng mga ilan na participants natin ay yung mouse. Ito yung ilong. Ito yung ilong niya. Ito yung mata niya. Ito yung bibig. Tapos, ito yung buhok ng old maid. And others may see it as a young lady na nakatingin sa likod. Diba? It's the eyes, the cheeks, and the hair. So, ito yung damit nila. Diba? You see na isa lang yung picture na pinapresent natin dito, but we have different perspective looking at it. So, kung titignan natin, it's the same. We are in a certain situation of pandemic. We are in the midst of the pandemic. We have different perspective accepting that problem or that situation na meron tayo. May ilan sa atin na nade-depress. May ilan sa atin, medyo siguro insensitive yung nade-depress. May ilan siguro sa atin na nag-exist na excessive worried sila dun sa situation of this pandemic. May ilan naman sa atin na mas natuwa with this pandemic with the setting of the work from home kasi mas meron na silang family time, meron na silang time with their children na hindi nila usually nagagawa. Diba? Pero it's the same. Isa lang yung problema natin, it's the pandemic, but we have different perspective looking at it. Like with this picture, isa lang yung picture na present natin, pero others may see it as an old maid looking down and a young lady looking away naman. Diba? So, in this perspective or in this part, gusto natin na maturuan kayo ng A, B, C, D, E, F. So, yung A, B, C, D, E, F, it's a certain way for us to look on things on a different perspective. The A is the antecedent event. The B is the belief. C is the consequent feelings. Diba? Maaring on a certain situation or a certain experience that we had, we have a certain belief on it. On a certain antecedent, we have a consequent feeling. Meron tayong naisip and meron tayong naramdaman of it. Diba? Of course, para at least magkaroon tayo ng new perspective, kaya nga tinuturuan natin tayo ng reframing or bagong perspektibo dun sa problema or sa certain situation na meron tayo. You see it, we can have a dispute on it. Maaari tayong bumatikos dun sa ating mga nararamdaman. Tapos, para at least mabago nito yung filosofiya natin at pakiramdam natin sa certain problem. In example, kung certain events na meron tayo ay, halimbawa na lang yung COVID-19. Maaaring ang pandemyang ito, inaasahan natin na lahat tayo baka mahawa. Iniisip natin na lahat tayo mahahawa. Kaya at the end, yung consequent feelings nito ay lagi tayong natatakot. Lagi tayong balisa na baka mahawa ako. So, looking at a dispute with this pandemic, maaari nating isipin na tignan natin yung perspective na maaaring mahawa ako, pero I can be recovered. Diba? You can be one of the recovered patients. If ever naman ako ay naging patients ng COVID-19, meron akong social support na tutulong sa akin na hindi ako pababayaan, di ba? So nakikita natin dito na meron na tayong mga pagbabatikos dun sa ating certain antecedent event na like COVID-19. And of course, pag nabago natin yung nagkaroon na tayo ng mga certain questionings with our belief and consequent feelings, makita natin na with the certain questions na, maraming gumagaling with the pandemic, with the COVID-19 pandemic. Maraming recovered patients, we can have an effective philosophy na kaya kong suungin yung COVID-19 kasi may mga ilan nga na nagte-testify na na-survive nila. So we have an effective philosophy at nababago yung feelings natin rather than being feared of being affected with COVID ay nabago nito yung perspective natin using a certain dispute na meron tayo. Okay? So the next discussions na pwede nating gawin para at least ma-maintain natin yung mental health natin. Una, yun, sabi nga natin yung thought reframing natin, di ba? Yung reframing natin. Siguro, pangalawa na ma-discuss natin dito para at least matulungan natin ang bawat isa na maka-cope with this pandemic is making a habits, di ba? Maaari kasing the more tayong stagnant, the more tayong inactive with ourselves, na na-contain tayo sa bahay, it affects our mood, di ba? Yung na-contain tayo sa bahay creates inactivity na inisip mo lagi na sayang hindi ako makagala, sayang hindi ako makabisita sa mga friends ko. And it provides you a low mood then, di ba? With a certain feelings na sayang, puro sayang, ganun. But of course, kung titingnan natin, we can make a habit that we may help ourselves to cope with the containment, with the community quarantine na meron tayo. It's by using making a habit pattern or a habit natin, di ba? For example, sa mga teachers na nakikinig sa atin ngayon ay we can have a certain pattern na at the end of on the first day or sa paggising natin sa umaga 6 to 7 o'clock I can prepare food for my children, and then by 8 to 9 alagaan yung mga bata kung may anak tayo, di ba, maglinis ng bahay. Then 9 to 11 I can work with a certain lessons na meron tayo. Then 12 mag-prepare naman tayo ng lunch. Tapos 1 to 3 work ulit. Tapos 4 to 5 a certain activity ulit na nakikita natin na kapaki-pakinabang pa rin. Tapos kung titingnan natin yung ganong, meron tayong daily activity sheet na talagang susundin natin. Nakita natin na establishing a sense of normalcy is important. Mahalaga na meron tayong establish natin yung normalcy or yung habits natin. I just would like to share yung isa sa hinangaan ko on making a habit during this community quarantine is Michael Bublé. Kasi yung life niya is, it's a weekly habit na ginawa nila. Like, this Monday, ito yung challenge ko with my wife para hindi tayo mabore sa loob ng bahay with the containment, with the quarantine, the lockdowns na tinatawag natin. Parang meron silang mga certain schedule na Monday, meron tayong cooking challenge with my wife. Tapos Tuesday, it's an exercise challenge with my wife. Tapos Wednesday, meron uling certain challenge sila na ina-upload nila to with the social media or ginagawa nila to with the Facebook Live and the Instagram TV ba yun? Or Instagram Live. Na kung titingnan natin, sa kabila nung pandemyang naranasan with the community quarantine na ating naranasan, they establish a sense of normalcy by doing such thing na hindi tayo mabobore or hindi tayo mako-contain or we can do an exercise pa din, di ba? At ayun yung gusto nating ma-establish sa bawat isa or mabigay natin sa bawat isa na isang payo na lahat tayo naka-experience ng pandemya. It's our chance to have a certain normalcy to cope with our problem. Okay? Third, na pwede nating pag-usapan or pwede nating maibigay na suggestion na activities is to express ourselves then. We define self-expression as expressing one's thoughts, feelings, and this expression can be accomplished through words, choices, or action. Makita natin na may mga ilan na gumawa ng diaries nila, di ba? Expressing themselves like with the bake, yung mga nauso ngayon na nagbe-bake sila, di ba, nagde-design sila ng ng drawing sila, nagde-design ng mga cakes. Ito naman natin kung gaano tayo na cultivate ng mga certain habits na meron tayo, and we can express ourselves. We can sing, we can do dancing, we can express ourselves by talking to other people using the social media efficiently, na ginagamit natin yung mga messenger, ginagamit natin yung mga Viber, yung mga certain social media apps to communicate with other people, to express our feelings din. So, isa sa gusto nating maibahagi na amidst of this pandemic, we can express ourselves in different manner. Naalala ko may mga ilan tayong pinalabas with the news na yung ilang artista or yung mga ilang director ay they have their own workshop na ginagawa to the aspiring artists, to the artist din, di ba, na gusto nila na ma-express yung sarili nila amidst of this pandemic, na ginagamit nila yung technology to provide and express themselves through acting din, through workshops, singing workshops, ganun, tugtugan. Tapos may mga ilan pa nga na mga musician ako na napapanood with the social media na nagpa-Facebook live sila, tumutugtog sila. You can request songs, di ba? Listening to music may help you to express yourself din, di ba? Yan. So kung titingnan natin, ang expressing ourselves ay parte ng paghilom or ng healing process na meron tayo. We can rediscover ourselves, tapos we can tell your story. Di ba? Maaari natin maibahagi yung mga stories natin, especially sa mga ilang kilala natin na naka-experience ng pandemya or ng COVID-19. Di ba? Let go the past, take your time, develop positive coping skills, create emotional outlet, di ba? Kasi yan, sinabi ko kanina na you can communicate using the social media to have an emotional outlet like with your family members, to other social support group, radical acceptance for your feelings, and practice forgiveness, and reach out and find your passion, di ba? Yeah. And then also, part of making habit and expressing ourselves is when you feel sad, you can drink some tea, di ba? Gawin natin yan. Get some sunlight. Gamitin natin yung phone natin ng effectively. Clean your spaces, di ba? Of course, pwede natin gamitin yun. Maglinis-linis tayo ng bahay, magkuting-ting tayo. And then, sabi nga, di ba, dun sa reframing, kailangan natin ng dispute or challenge your negative thoughts. Listen to motivational talks na available. Write down your feelings or so express yourself. But then, read the book and cry it out. Diba? Maraming ways para ma-establish natin yung mga certain habits. Maraming ways para ma-establish natin yung expressing ourselves and reframing. So, isa pa sa ways natin is to have a systematic problem solving. Kung titingnan natin, pag sinabing systematic problem solving, tulad ng mga problem solving na alam natin at naririnig natin, it's a systematic one na sunod-sunod siya. Una, prioritize natin ano yung problem natin. We can break it down to list. Tignan natin ano ba yung mga problemang tayo ay in control, meron tayong control. Tapos, pangalawa is the problems that beyond our control. Tignan natin ano ba yung mga problemang ako mismo ang makakasolve nito. Tignan natin yung mga problemang kailangan ko ng katuwang with solving my problem. And let's evaluate what are the problems that we are in control para mas alam natin, mas kontrolado natin yung pag-solve nito. Tapos, tingnan natin ano ba yung mas importante dito para ayun yung unahin natin. bago natin makita yung patong-patong na problemang ating na-experience. Okay? And of course, emphasize natin tong social support na meron tayo. Pag sinabing social support na meron tayo, it's not only the family members na meron tayo, but a certain friend, di ba? Maaari natin kausapin with this community quarantine, with this pandemic. Ito yung chance natin na to reunite, to reconcile, to reconnect with our friends. Kasi hindi na natin sila makakausap physically, but of course, yung mga drawing gala natin ay hindi na natin magagawa, but we can communicate with them ng tuloy-tuloy pa din. A social support is a community member na sila rin yung tutulong sa atin. And of course, family members. So, kung titingnan natin, isa nga siya doon sa pinakamalaking social support. Kasi sila mismo yung mga kasama natin sa bahay. Isa sila sa mga matibay na sandigan with this community, with this pandemya nating naranasan. Partner in life, tapos a co-worker at mga kapitbahay natin. They are a part of our social support na tutulungan tayo sa kalagitnaan ng pandemya na to. They can provide social support, they can provide a certain ayuda. Ano ba yung mga ayudang pwede nang ibigay? Mag-share sila ng ulam. Ano ba? Magbenta sa'yo ng mga ilang mga products na kailangan mo din kaysa lumabas ka pa. Diba? Sila yon yung mga social support natin. And of course, nakita naman natin dito na kanina kasi dun sa ating discussion, like reframing, making habits, expressing ourselves, tapos, ano pa ba yung mga discussions natin? Expressing ourselves, systematic problem solving, and yung last nating napag-usapan ay yung have a social support, ay parang kung tutusin natin ay ito ay mga pang sarili nating ways or suggestion to cope with this pandemic. Pero of course, as a mature individual, we should take our family members. So, lagi tayong mag 3 L's din dito. It's 3 L's na dapat nating tingnan. Una, ay yung look. Tingnan natin ano ba yung safety ng ating family members. Ask for their concerns. Ano ba yung mga kailangan nila. So, tingnan natin. And then, listen to them. Maaaring listening, it's more than listening is one part of the skills na dapat nating matutunan para para masolusyonan natin yung mga problema, especially to our children. Kasi active listening, dito na-emphasize natin yung active listening, is a non-judgmental way of listening to a family member. We are not judging them to their decisions in life, but we just listen at alam natin na yung presensya natin ay essential dun sa pangangalaga natin sa kanila. And of course, part nung 3L natin ay yung link. Third is link. Ay, una, bigyan natin yung mga basic needs na meron sila. Help people cope with their loved ones. Diba? Balik natin sila dun sa ano ba talaga yung mga kailangan nila. And of course, connect with them. Diba? Lagi, kaya nga may link tayo. It's to connect with the people around us. Okay? So it's more than that we take care of ourselves, and of course, we should take care of our family members. And of course, tingnan natin if the problem still occurs, especially to those dun sa side nung ill side, di ba, ng ating mental health spectrum. We can call yung hotline, crisis hotline ng National Center for Mental Health. Yan, it's naka-flash naman siya sa ating screen. It's 0917-899-USAP or 8727, or you can call 989-USAP 8727. It's a 24/7 na hotline para at least you can be referred, you can have an assistance, especially to one who is struggling with their mental health. And the Psychological Association of the Philippines announces through their Facebook page kung sino yung gusto ng psychological help, psychological first aid amidst of this pandemic. Ito yung mga list na nagbibigay ng psychological services na available during the pandemic. Hindi ito pagpo-promote, but yung PAP ay nag-provide na kung sino yung mga gustong tumawag sa kanila or tumawag para mabigyan ng tulong sa kanilang kalusugang pangkaisipan. So, una, yun nga, si National Center for Mental Health, si Philippine Mental Health Association online support. Yan. You can take screenshots of this slide para at least malaman natin. Tawagan natin. Yan. So, sa Green Matters, alam ko, it's located yung NCMH. Ito, balikan natin. Si NCMH is the Mandaluyong side. Si Philippine Mental Health, yung main office nila ay, national office nila ay nasa Quezon City, but they have chapters around the Philippines din. Si Grey Matters, and located sa south area ng Metro Manila. At yan. Si Circle of Hope, Community Services, maaari nating tawagan. Si Mental Health First Responders, ayan. Of course, si UP Diliman Psych Serve, and si Ateneo Bulatao Center for Psychological Services. Si Psych Consult, pwede natin tawagan. Ayan. You can take screenshot of these numbers. In Touch Community Services, and it's a 24/7 crisis hotline. Si Master Psychological Services, you can connect with their Facebook page. And Philippine Sports Commission provides psychosocial services for the national athletes. TPGCA, it's the Philippine Guidance Counselors Association, Pampanga Chapter, online counseling for COVID frontliners. And pwede nyo silang kontakin through their Facebook page. Of course, the Sunflower Children's Center sa Baguio City. And sa mga tagapakinig natin or makikinig nito sa Cebu, it's the University of San Carlos Mental Health Support for COVID-19. Western Visayas Psychosocial Support for COVID. And you can reach them through their Facebook accounts. Then, of course, through their email. And si Camp Navarro General Hospital sa Zamboanga. Si Psyclinic, Psychological Assessment and Intervention Services sa Zamboanga. Psyclinic, ayan. Si De La Salle Dasmariñas Center for Applied Psychology for the Cavite area to. Of course, Coffin Clinic sa Davao, Adventist Hospital Davao. Ayan. Si COVID Mental Health, Wellness, and Professional Resources sa Bicol Region. Knox Cube Behavioral Mental Health sa Olongapo, Zambales. Psychor Neuro Testing sa Isabela. Maaari kayo mag-screenshots ng mga numbers, Facebook pages na pwede nyo puntahan para ma-connect natin yung mga family members natin, di ba? Sabi nga dito na to help our family members is to look, listen, and link. Maaaring may mga ilan tayong family members na parte ng locally stranded individuals na alam natin na nakakaranas ng mental health concerns with the community quarantine after nilang magbalik sa probinsya dahil bilang LSI. Ayan, UP Tacloban Mental Health and Psychosocial Support. Ayan, Telepsychology for Lasallian Community. Nakalagay din dyan. And of course, UST, University of Santo Tomas, Tamasian Mental Health Responders, TMHR, COVID-19, pwede nating tawagan. Si OJ Fortune, Psychological Services sa Ilagan City, Isabela. Project Bohol, Pagkabuhi. Yan. Of course, sa Bohol ito, New Day Recovery Center sa Davao City. Yan. Si Start, Psychological and Academic Art Services. Si Mobarm COVID, MHPSS PFA hotline, and si Western Visayas Medical Center, Department of Psychiatry. Yan. Sila yung mga pwede nating tawagan na mako-contact natin. And I do hope with the short lecture na pinrovide ko sa inyo ay nakatulong ako with coping with our mental health. So with that, maraming salamat sa ating mga tagapakinig. Thank you po.
Sana po ay marami kayong natutunan sa aming munting presentasyon na ito na handog sa inyo ng Caloocan Central Elementary School sa pamumuno ni Dr. CARMENIA C. ABEL. Bagamat mahirap ang pinagdadaanan nating lahat, naway maging positibo tayo sa ating pananaw at huwag nating kalimutan na magdasal sa ating Panginoong Diyos. Nais ko ding pasalamatan ang ating mga resource speakers na nagbahagi ng kanilang kaalaman upang tayo ay gabayan sa ating pinagdadaanang stress at bigyang halaga ang ating mental health. Ako po si Mrs. Daisy Joyce Torres, ang clinic teacher ng Caloocan Central Elementary School na nag-iiwan ng kasabihang ligtas ang may alam ngayong panahon ng pandemic. Salamat po.
Mabayanihan